Well, hello, FSG. How you doing? Are you there? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello.
Hello, everyone. I can't hear Argsy.
Can you not hear me
We've just
now?
been chatting for ages, and now I can't hear him.
What is going on?
Can you hear me, Args?
I can hear you loud and clear. Loud and
Take
clear.
all of our
Clear as day.
we take all of our live stream tips from DJ and Clutch.
Yeah, literally, we've been sitting here for
Oh no,
an
you
hour
are muted,
chatting.
mate. Although, no, my headphones are on.
What on earth is what on earth is going on?
Right, you can hear me. Can you hear Args?
This is strange. What a good start. Everything was working so well.
It's a good start.
Oh,
this is a whole nostalgia trip, this.
Yeah. What have you muted me on the right-hand side or something?
Could the audio issue cliche?
Everyone can hear us both, but you can't hear me.
Yeah, we can't hear each other. That's kind of
I can hear you.
Not ideal, is it?
Yeah.
Why can't I hear Args?
I'll message him.
You can hear me. Why can't I hear you? What has happened? I bet you I know what's happened. Hang on. I've got it. There we go. Can you hear me now, Args?
I've been able to hear you the whole time. Can you hear me?
Yeah. How weird was that?
All right,
it just decided to knock my volume on my headphones down to 0.
Oh, all right, hang on. We'll do this.
Right. Okay. And again. And again.
Take 2. All right, you ready? 3, 2, 1. They won't know we're here.
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Oh, what a start. We're professionals. How are we all? Nice to see you, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you? It's early for you, so
it is
early Monday morning for you in New Zealand.
Yes. I was just saying we've got King's birthday celebrations today. It's our public holiday because some king back in the 17th century didn't like having his birthday in winter, so he wanted to celebrate it in summer.
Yeah, those pesky British colonials.
I know, right? I know, but that's a string for a whole another day.
Yes, indeed. So, welcome everyone to From the Field. Those of you who've been with us for a while will know that we did this towards the end of FS19. To be fair, when we did it, we had a little bit more information than we do now, right, Ox?
Well, yes. I mean, any information would be more than what we've got now.
Yeah. But we did a run up to FarmCon, and then obviously the information that came out about FS22 at FarmCon. But conscious that FarmCon is a month away, we're going to take some calculated assumptions that we might hear something at FarmCon on potentially a new game. Everything kind of points to it, doesn't it? So we thought we'd kick these off. Opportunity for both of our communities to kind of ask questions, get caught up with some chat, and generally, you know, you're a decent bunch of folk who care about the game, so we want to hear from you, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, and we'll see how many jokes I get about going into the river, into the water. But yeah, we I think we sort of couched the idea of doing this about 6 weeks ago, and today's been about the first day we've managed to be able to sync something up that's going to work out really well. So yeah, hence the title, The Current State of Farming Simulator, and I guess just talking about what we know, what we don't know. And I mean, we had a whole list of things we've written down, so we'll see how far we go, but we'd also be led with you guys. Any questions, comments, or anything you guys have got to add and want to discuss, we're open to it. So
there you go. Well, Scooter saying he watched a streamer last night who hinted June the 25th might be an interesting day. I don't know who that was, but certainly, I know I've not heard anything concrete yet. So it is all speculation at the moment.
But it's Tuesday.
Let's be honest. They are going to do their biggest event of the year. This year, we were talking before we came on tonight. There has been zero reference to anything, a new DLC, a new game, or anything, a new season pass, anything since November last year. That's a long time, right? That's a long time.
Yeah, it is. It is. Particularly if you watch the video, their recap video, which they did a couple of weeks ago. And right from the start of 22 being released, there was something every couple of months. It was a lot of free DLC to start off with, the AGI pack. There was those 2 or 3 free DLC drops, which brought things. We've had the 2 season passes, everything that's been in between. And then Zelonka and the premium expansion came out. And then it's, from Giants' point of view, there's been absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
There's been complete radio silence. Of course, we've had the farm production pack, and we might get into that a little bit later on. But yeah, it's just been complete radio silence. It's kind of like, I say FarmSim's been forgotten. It's like it's been forgotten, or they've given up on it. It's been a really bizarre situation.
And we were talking about, from it's interesting what Days is saying there. I wonder if deadlines have been missed, that announcement aren't being made because of that. So, we don't know the inner workings of Giants, right? And maybe, around the table at Giants, they felt they released it too early. They announced it too early last time, and the wait from, when was it? End of April last time they announced FS22? From April to November is a long time to wait for a game, right? So maybe they're squeezing it a little bit more. Maybe they've missed deadlines and they don't, maybe it's not ready to talk about yet.
Maybe not.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. So
you had an interesting comment when we were recording at Hilly Farms a couple of weeks ago. You're like, I wonder if they're selling the company. And they're going through some sort of due diligence, and they can't, let's just throw complete out their ideas. You just don't know what's going on from a company perspective in the background. But
exactly.
From the fact we've heard absolutely nothing, complete radio silence. Even just comment about the fact Lars is left in the community coordinator role. That's a big part of where we get our information from Kermit and Chucky and Lars, and their leader in the pack's gone. So
that's right. Yeah. So
with upheaval.
So realistic farmer saying here, I feel that Giants have hinted it with a recap. I think that's the strongest sign, right? That they're drawing a line under FS22, and there is something coming, but when and what? Well, let's assume it is another FarmSim game. That they would be crazy to not release a new game off the back of FS22 being their most successful game to date, right? So, so I think from that perspective, we know something's coming down the line, and the fact they have no competition. It's not like there's another farming game that's knocking them out of the park, right? They are the one, the only, and as far as I'm concerned, still the best farming game we've seen. So. We know something's coming, but just when and as we get close to FarmCon, it's like FarmCon last year was when we saw our first, FarmCon 3 years ago was when we saw the first gameplay. So they'd already announced the cinematic, and then so you'd already built the hype, and then it was like, well, what are we going to see at FarmCon? We're going to see more, and people were starting to get excited. Whereas it kind of now it's just this black hole of, well, what are we going to see at FarmCon? So,
yeah, FarmSim Kids is the new game. Of course, they put all their attention onto that rather than developing the new one. But
very good.
I had a train of thought there, and I've completely lost it now after what you were saying. But it's just like, and again, we've talked about it. With put your marketing hat on, even just a little coming soon or anything like that.
Drop a teaser, drop something.
Yeah, it could be something as cryptic like they did with the Boda pack. Get the community interested and excited and talking about it. Because at the moment they're talking about it for the wrong reasons. And I think Finnish Farmer commented on your stream very early on. Is this a positive or a negative stream? Well, it is. It's positive because we both love the game and we're looking forward to a new version coming out. But it's negative that we don't know what's happening. So it's all a little bit up in the air.
It is. But anyway, I suppose it gives us the opportunity, in the absence of anything concrete or like from Giants, is to speak to you lot and find out what you would love to see in the new game. I know we'll see GPS for consoles and all of that, deformable ground and all of them repeat things. But actually, what is it that fundamentally you would like to see different from 22? What are the things that you think work well? What are the things that you think need development? And you, Args, as well. To be fair, we talk about this most weeks, but when we're recording our series together. But it's what would you like to see? I mean, it's interesting. I kind of fall out with people when they kind of go, the graphics are rubbish. The Giants aren't making an effort or they're not doing as much as they could, because actually you've got to remember at the end of the day they're a very small company still. I think they have like 150 employees in total. So half of those won't be devs either. So there's a small dev team. So what they do actually with a small dev team is pretty good. But obviously the more popular the game gets, the more employees they're hiring. So hopefully over time the team will grow and the game will grow with the number of people they've got. But right, let's try and catch up with some of these and see what people are saying.
I guess the biggest thing for me, without having seen anything, is the worry that the game's not actually going to develop much from what we've had. So what's going to make it a new game rather than just a refresh of FS22?
A reskin of FS20. You don't want to get into the kind of EA mentality where they roll the same game out every year with just the date changed on it. And minor tweaks here and there. I was saying just before, FS24's out. This F124 is out this week.
FS on the brain.
And they're like, it's getting panned already because it's just I bought FS23 and nothing's different. Oh, brilliant! You've brought out updated, Formula 1 2024, and you've changed the skins of the cars, and that's about it. Wow. Yeah. So
it's a bit like
Animal Overhaul. Args. There's a few of those. So Rob D Titans put in, it's time for baby animals. It's overdue. Realistic Farmer, Animal Overhaul, brand overhaul as well. But brand overhaul is interesting. What do you mean by that, realistic? Because we've got over 400 and more being added all the time. I guess that's not up to Giants, really, is it? That's up to the brands who want to join the game at the end of the day.
So, yeah, I guess it depends which way it is. I imagine originally Giants would have been going to brands and saying, look, we're making this farming game. Do you want to be part of it? But they've probably got to the point now with the market share and that where it might be the other way around now. You're sort of seeing it a little bit and more so now with FS22, where modders are going to manufacturers, to brands, and saying, we can get you into FarmSim, and working through that way as a partnership. So I mean that's definitely positive. And
that's true.
Grow, but I guess it depends on a brand's appetite for being involved in a video game, and that's something that's been an issue, not an issue, but for many years in gaming. You look at the likes of Gran Turismo, it's a 30-year-old game or something now from when it first started, but damage is such a huge issue for manufacturers and brands. They don't want their brand being wrecked on the side of a racetrack. So I guess it's a brand and FarmSim in the same way has to look at how their brand's going to be portrayed in a video game.
Definitely.
There's definitely a whole lot around brand awareness.
But Mr. Marcel's in. Hello, Mr. Marcel. Good to see you. He's always lurking. Fair play. Mr. Marcel always is paying attention to what the community is saying. And if you don't know who Mr. Marcel is, he's responsible for the whole mod ecosystem and how mods make it into the game for Giants. Really great guy. So, but he's asking as well, what do we like to see in terms of improvements? He was asking realistic, I think, across the board there. But animals is an interesting one, right? We're both from farming backgrounds, Args. I personally think animals are too easy in FS. You can literally feed them once a week in base game, and that nothing happens to them. And I know we don't want dead animals in the game because that's going to impact the certificate the game gets. So, but that which I'm cool with, but surely there's more. It could be more immersive, that side of things, couldn't it?
It's really interesting you say that, because having actually only last night, I haven't watched all the Clarkson Farms yet, and I don't want to give too much away. It's been out a while now, but we've just gone through the episode with the pigs, and if you've seen the episode with the pigs, Mrs. Argsy was sitting there in tears watching that episode.
And the same in season 2 with the sheep and the lambs. The stress and the worry, and the cows. His favorite cow that had to go to marketers and stuff. So
it's I guess it's just part of farming life. So it's a challenge there where you're trying to portray a game and trying to be a simulator for something that's realistic, and probably the majority of people who are farmers have had to deal with that. If you're into animals, there is that whole farmers love their animals. There's the whole animal care and looking after them, and there is death and loss and birth and all that sort of stuff that goes on in farms. But I guess when you're trying to balance what happens in real life in a simulator against the way that ratings are written for a game, because you do have to remember it's there's ratings out there. There's certain criteria they have to meet. So
that's right.
How do you balance those two?
That's right. But then we've seen really cool mods as well, haven't we? So we think the pasture, the drawable pastures, or whatever it's called, placeable pastures, expandable pastures, is a really nice addition to the game in terms of being able to create your own. You can fill a field that once wasn't. I really don't like the whole square box fenced off area thing for animals. It just doesn't feel realistic. So even that kind of expandable pastures thing is a nice thing that and again you hope and they've got previous for this, Giants, haven't they? They'll see good mods and incorporate them into the game further down the line. Now I'm going to be controversial here. Maize Plus for me goes too far the other way. For the majority general players, I think it becomes too onerous. There's too many options. It's I also think it removes the immersion as well. When you're filling your feeder wagon in the yard, and the list of options down the side fills half your screen up of the different mixes you can put in the stuff. It kind of feels it's like, okay, I'm not playing a farming game. I'm playing a spreadsheet game.
There's definitely an era of that. I mean, I like what the thought process behind it is.
Phenomenally clever.
The way it's done and that, and how it does expand on TMR and all those kind of things. But you are right that the demands on someone who wants to play with 200 cows, demands for using Maize Plus just basically that becomes a chore. That's not fun anymore. So, but at the end of the day, the fact it's a mod and you can choose to play with it or not is obviously the good aspect.
And again, but then even little things like, and I know I don't know if it's an engine limitation, and maybe Mr. Marcel can say this, an engine limitation or a last gen console limitation, but the fact you can have 200 cows, but we only ever see 20 in a field. And what does that, how do we make tweaks like that just make it feel a bit more immersive? Would be nice, wouldn't it?
You look at places like Loma, Missouri, with the big feedlots and that. There's a lot of cows visible in that when you were doing your show through on that. And
I don't think it made a massive impact on the performance of the game for me. I'm on a decent PC, but I'm kind of interested to see what's possible with the dropping of support for PS4 and Xbox One in the next game.
That'd definitely be a bonus, I think, or a positive if they were able to do that. Vehicle breakdowns is one that's popped up a lot too. I just think FarmSim said the same, and there was a few others coming through. We've seen some awesome mods recently around breakdowns and servicing and all those kind of things. But definitely, and that's one thing I've really wanted, is that sort of randomness of farming. Farming's not, you don't go out every day and just do the same thing over and over and nothing happens. You'll have an issue. You watch the Millennial Farmer or anything like that. It rains, you can't plant, or you break something on your planter, you've got to take 2 hours out of your time to fix it. So some of that'd be cool, but it's also that case of how do you balance keeping people interested in the game and not going, I can't play for 2 hours because my planter's broken, I'll come back tomorrow, or I'll go play something else. How do you do something like that and make it feel the same, but not becoming a chore, not becoming a disability. But there was just one of the other comments in there, and this would be one way to address that, is have those sort of toggles. We can turn off loam, we can turn off stones, you can turn off ploughing and that sort of thing. Have those things, you can turn them off. So if you don't want to play with realistic maintenance, you can turn it off.
And I think we've talked about it before. Even in hard mode, FS is relatively easy still, which is, I think, one of the things that makes it really enjoyable for a lot of people. But I think there's also and probably as a minority subset who would really like to see it super tough as well. But you could just add that as a fourth option when you load up the game, right? And but definitely, I think there's a few people saying, more impact from weather as well there. Again, which we've all talked about something. Where is it? Who put it up? I'm trying to find. You guys are talking too much. There we go, Martin. Martin Robbins saying weather impact and things like droughts. I think some sort of randomizer in there, because let's be honest. Speaking as somebody who's living in the UK at the moment, first cut silage this year is an absolute nightmare in the UK because it has monsoon rained for the best part of a month. So even the the grass is massive and ready to go, but you can't get a tractor in a field. It's everywhere is flooded. So things like that just put the pressure on you and the timescales, squeeze the timescales for how you got to do stuff is I'd love to see an evolution of seasons. I know I kind of we all know that FS19 seasons was a lot more powerful than seasonal cycles in 22, but let's hope they're going to build on that. So yeah,
exactly. Gosh, it was interesting. We were talking before about seeing where we'd take this, and it's kind of heading off in different directions, which is kind of cool.
It has. So here's a question. So Hamish has put in a few times. I've seen a couple of others. People don't like having to buy another game, losing access to DLCs. What about a model where the game gets updated every 3? But I mean, this is a massive, broad question. But you think
ATS.
Yes, that's a really good example. Or World of Warcraft. I bought the game in 2008, and I can log in today, and it'll update to the latest version. I don't have to spend any money. The only money and the DLCs add extra content, but if you don't buy the DLCs, it doesn't matter. Now, obviously, that's a big revenue stream you're losing, but at the same time, maybe that's the frequency of DLCs, the price of DLCs goes up, so it's like an expansion pack. Maybe I don't know.
I think you say that. I was thinking the same thing, but answered the question is none of those games are on console. ATS, ETS, World of Warcraft, they're not console games. So how do you keep that market? Because console is such a big market for giants.
And I don't know. They don't share data really on the split really, but I think the console market does, and maybe Mr. Marcel will give us something loose base, but I think console market far outweighs the PC market because again, it's a lower entry kind of point, isn't it? So
Dave's was saying there about a yearly subscription, everything is included and you pay a fee. I mean, that's basically what we've had so far with the season passes, which is I think that's a good model and a good way to be doing things. You can choose to buy it, you choose not to.
So there you go. Keep it, Mr. Marcel saying, keeping in mind every X years, all save games and mods would break. If that's something you would be okay with, I suppose. Yes, as the engine evolves and they add new things to the engine, it will have that impact on all the save games, won't it?
I suppose technically every save game and mod breaks every cycle now. Anyhow,
well, true, yeah.
Unless there's going to be some improvements in a future game where mods for FS22 are much more compatible with any future game. That would be interesting to see.
So here's another question for you, Args. So probably the thing I had a question here I was going to ask at some point, but I was going to say what's the high point and low point in FS22. But this for me is, although it was 2.5 years ago, is still probably one of the lowest points for me. Was that it was almost like open season for the first 6 months after the game came out, when just there was this almost kind of desperation for mods. We need mods. We've got to get, and then like there was lots of people like taking other people's mods and badly converting them to 22 and getting them, and it was just carnage for 6 months until it all calmed down. What could we do to make that transition between games? Because we're going to have to update mods. You're not going 22 mods aren't going to work in the next version of the game, right? Because it's going to be a vastly improved engine.
We hope so.
Yeah. So, what can we do to that transition over from the old game to the new game, where people get mods? Because mods are such a big part of the game, right? How do we stop How do we stop that kind of animosity that almost was coming out of it was really quite toxic for the first 6 months.
It was, yeah.
How do we stop that? And
Well,
yeah,
I think it's just that one thing that would be some way there's better communication with modders around what's changing or what needs to be done to change a mod. So, and that was one thing we actually talked about before 22 came out is there an opportunity somehow with, and I don't know how you'd ever do it, but with modders being given an API or an early access to the next version of the game and said, this is how our mods are going to be, this is what you're going to need to do for your mods to work in the new version of the game.
Yeah.
You can start updating them now instead of waiting until the game comes out and then the modders are having to, there you go. It's exactly what Scooter's just said, a mod conversion readiness kit. What do you need to do and start doing it now for the next game? This is what you're going to need to do so your mods are available right at the start. That's, I guess, the only way you could really see it being that mods are available earlier. But I guess as well, though, people have to realize that mods aren't a right. And that's a really hard part a lot of people don't grapple with. They just expect people to give up their time to go out and create these mods.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time, especially when even the mods I've made, which are pretty basic and simple, I can only imagine how long it takes for custom modding to model a track.
Yeah.
To the level of detail they do it to. So I think, people just have to have this level of expectation and temper that with realizing someone's giving up their time, whether it's family time, whether it's a part-time job for them, whatever it is, they're giving up their time to create these mods, and it's just suck it up.
Exactly right, and there's so much that comes out in the game that you don't need mods straight out off the bat. Mods are the best. One of the best things about the FS games is that they keep the game fresh. 2-3 years on. But actually, there's tons of and the level and the quality of the mods that you get in the game is right up there of the best you can get. So, all right, they maybe don't have some of the options that I think there's a lack of US kind of specs and things like that, and maybe that can be addressed earlier on. But yeah, no, I think you're right. It's a privilege we have, and we're lucky that there is such a good modding community. And let's be honest, they're all free, and that's something I think Giants are really pushed to keep a thing, because you look at Flight Sim, for example, you could spend £3,000-4,000 on mod. If you want to get all the best mods for Flight Sim, you are out of pocket to the tune of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds if you want the best stuff. Whereas custom modding can spend a year on the case Quadtrack 715 and just hand it over to the whole community up one day and go, there you go, guys, go and play with it. That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. So which actually leads us on to sort of one of the questions that we had written down was a premium mod hub or a free mod hub or both.
Yeah.
Is there a way, and Dave's mentioned about a monthly subscription or a yearly subscription. The biggest issue and what I noted down with that was how would you manage it? So at the moment, a mod's a zip folder. So for example, Edo Mods recently released Deutschland map, beautiful map, comes with the HD textures. There's nothing stopping people sharing those around if they want to. If someone buys it, you could share it with someone else. So how would you be able to manage that? I think a lot of the mods you're talking about with FlightSim come as installable files, applications.
Yes.
So you actually install them and they go into the game. So,
obviously more like the DLCs, yeah.
Like the DLC. The DLC is locked to the game. So how could you have that premium versus free? And what's the difference between a premium mod and a free mod? And who determines what that is? Is it a texture quality? Is it a certain level?
Maybe a couple of extra specs or something like that. I thought you could do the only way you could do that is if you, because Mr. Marcel said this before, you don't want there to be a barrier to entry. You don't want to limit people's access to stuff, because there's a lot of younger people who play the game who maybe don't have disposable income, who would rightly feel their noses out. So I wonder if you did something like you said, it's a premium version of the mod with higher textures or more options and stuff like that. But if they get a premium mod, they have to provide that mod as a standard modding game. So you always get the mod, but there's a level up that you can pay a little bit extra for.
Mm.
Maybe that would work. But again, it still doesn't solve the problem that if you download it as a zip file, people are just going to share it with their mates.
Yeah, it'll be on one of those dodgy sites in minutes, seconds, even.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think it's good to have these conversations and hopefully help some of the community realize that there's not a silver bullet. There's not a simple answer to all of these, but there's some really good ideas out there, and there's some great ideas flowing through there in chat, which is good.
Yeah, no, I'm seeing lots of good stuff here. Okay, so that is a lot of talk there about mods. Funnily enough, that's no big surprise. It always seems to come to the fore, that stuff as well. I'm going to ask you another question here, Args. What have you seen in FS22 that's made you go, wow, from a modding perspective? What's really stood out as stuff that you've seen that you would never expected, that's really pushed the game engine to places that you kind of like, okay, I wasn't expecting that. Because I think the modders seem to and this is the thing with year 3 of the game, right? You see the best stuff in the 3rd year just before the new game comes out, because everybody's worked out how far you can push it or where you can take it and what works. So yeah, we're seeing some really good stuff at the moment. But what have you seen that kind of just makes you go, wow?
So this is a little bit different. So FS19, if you remember back, there was the Sky Crane helicopter for logging.
Yes.
Which you go out, and I used that a little bit on Hallmark Crew, used some logging. And that was pretty cool. That was a pretty cool little helicopter. And we've seen some of that come back. But the physics for helicopters and for the aviation have been really, really lackluster, I guess, trying to write it into the engine. I've been following a guy on YouTube, Zippy, who's been working on a script for aviation. He's been showing in the last week, he's been showing a crop dusting plane, which will actually roll and pitch and everything about it. It moves like a plane. Whereas at the moment, the limitations have been you can change direction. You're basically just twisting the plane around a Z axis.
Yeah, because Monaco did one, didn't he? And it was the limitations were the engine, or perceived limitations of the engine.
Yeah, honestly, you need to just looking at that. I know, and it was something he was working on 2019 as well. I'll see if I can find it and share it in chat for people to go and look at, because it's pretty cool. And he's been doing helicopters and all sorts. So fingers crossed that's something that'll come. I mean, that's not something that I can go and play now. It is something in development. It's something someone's been doing for a long, long time. But just to see that he's got that passion to go and try and do that and share it, hopefully, with the community, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think, the trains that came out the other month as well, they're pretty impressive. Also, I forget the name of the mod off the top of my head. I know Farmer Hamish has been loving his stuff, but that whole construction, building your own windmill, wind farms and stuff like that, and the scale of the cranes and the approach for that is just off the charts. How cleverly done it is, and the effort that's gone into it. So, I always think it's Jay Weezy. Thank you very much, Barn. Just incredible, and it's not even. And I know some people go, "Well, it's a farming game. Why are we putting trains in it?" But it's not. That's not the point. They're missing the point there. The point is you're taking an engine for a game and you're pushing the limits of what it can do, which is really. Jeremy Brown is the guy that does the cranes. Anybody who hasn't seen his stuff, go and have a look, because it's unbelievable. Massive 150 foot high windmills, wind turbines. And you have to, not only do you have to build the wind turbine, you have to build the crane that's big enough to do it. So
yeah. This is I don't know how well that's going to play, but just the physics and that pretty around good. This flying being done in game is pretty impressive. Look at that. Being able to fly down. Look at how low he goes and controls the plane. You get the wing, the pitch over and everything. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And it just goes. I think it just goes to show, then, right? It's. I think people kind of get frustrated and blame the engine for a lot of things. The engine's capable of a lot, and the reason Giants built their own engine was because there was no engine out there that could do what they wanted it to do in FarmSim.
Yeah,
it's very easy. I think people with a lot of gaming experience aren't necessarily experts at kind of game building. So it's very easy to say, well, just use Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine's way better. Well, it's not, because they obviously looked at that because they're a professional business and ruled it out, because they said the amount of changes we'd need to make to Unreal would make it a custom engine anyway. And then every time Unreal updated the engine, you'd have to go back and redo it all again. So at least they're in control of their own destiny with the Giants engine.
So here's a question for you then, and I have no knowledge around game development or anything like that, and you might not know either. However, let's just throw this out as a question for everyone. How much has Unreal, as an example, changed since Farming Simulator was first made? And how much could Unreal do for what Giants do in their engine? And the reason I ask is I'm looking at games that are adding in a lot of destruction, first-person shooters, deformable terrain. PUBG's just added the ability to blow up ground with grenades, and it creates a divot in the ground, and that's what you can hide in. So these games are always exploring things with different engines, things like that. How much have those engines developed that, dare I say, the Giants engines now are relevant as a standalone?
Yeah,
it'd be interesting.
It's a good question. It's a good question, and I'm sure Giants are always looking at: do you keep going with your engine, or do you get a third-party engine? I mean, that must almost be a constant thing that's being reviewed at Giants. But equally, I don't know what engine. The SnowRunner's on Unreal, isn't it? On MudRunner, or is it on its own engine? Anyway, that remember they did the farming DLC. They added tractors into the game. It was rubbish. Yeah, it was terrible. It was clearly people that have, let's put tractors in the game, but didn't know the fundamentals of farming.
Yeah, there we go. That answers the question.
Yeah, there you go.
It would kill the game. The engine would change, kill the game.
Yeah. It would have to be a new game, right? Wouldn't it? Rather than an extension of FarmSim.
Yeah. I'll just say, obviously, it's awesome having Mr. Marcel in here and actually being open and sharing that information with us.
Yeah.
Because we can end some speculation, end some comments. People can see it and actually go, wow, there is all these things that we're speculating. Of course, Giants have thought about it. Of course they have. They're watching. They're always watching. They're always lurking somewhere, getting information from the community. So.
Yeah, Snow's on. There you go. Frostbite. It's on.
So jumping around again, just back to the whole what made you go wow. After streaming on doing some mining yesterday, Terraform is another one of those wows. Having 3-wheel loaders and 5 or 6 mining trucks running pay dirt back and forth between a gold mine. That was pretty cool yesterday.
Yeah. I think I had some of the most fun with Terraform in this game. It's some of my most popular. I did a video 2.5 years ago on Terraform, and it's still constantly in my top 3 videos every week. People are still watching it and discovering it. It's very clever, and again, it just goes to show you that the potential is there, right? And this boils down to, and again, it's a battle that Giants will always have, is what do you choose? You can't do everything. You can't, you'd have a team of 10,000 people working on the game if you wanted to implement every request that anybody ever suggested. So it's a balance of, okay, what do we do that's going to add value to the game versus what's going to make people go, wow, so I'm sure it's a classic. I'm sure the GPS for consoles thing they must roll their eyes like we roll our eyes when you see that in the chat. So you would never know. The AI's evolved massively in 22 from 19. It's still not perfect, but then again, now this Courseplay and Autodrive. I've run into as many trees in Autodrive than as I have in with the in-game AI. So everything's evolving over time, but they have to decide what's going to sell the game. You've got to put a commercial hat on sometimes, haven't you? And go, if you put crop damage from weather in the game, is that just going to annoy a lot of people? Yeah. Especially the younger audience who just want to drive a combine in a field and harvest corn, right?
Or get a dirt bike they can race around the map.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is that's the interesting thing. You look at what the top mods are on Mod Hub, And they're all things like dirt bikes and cars, and it's
Yeah.
very little farming related things. And,
Yeah.
and that's not how people are playing.
Well, in fact, yeah, Vectorman. I saw Vectorman put up yesterday. Who's got, I think, the number one, the I forget what it's called, but the car is based on is it the Ford Mustang or something? It's based on the Dodge Charger or something. To 24 million downloads on ModHub. He announced yesterday, and I've met Vectorman the last couple of years. The road rage. I met him the last couple of years at FarmCon. Just the loveliest guy.
Yeah. So here's the top 10 at the moment. You've got the government subsidy, the Husqvarna, so a dirt bike, the TLX, always popular, the road rage. Just being able to strap, but this one's interesting. Just being able to strap different items down on a trailer.
Yeah,
quite a funny one. Rumbler van, quad bike, TLX.
But this tells you something, doesn't it? How desperate.
Yoss.
Liftable pallets. It's all console stuff. It's all stuff for console, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Which just goes to show you. There you go. Many players use our game as a sandbox and make their own little worlds. Yeah, and that's what's brilliant about it. It's like, here's the tools that you need to play the game any way you want. It's not linear. It's not, and I think that's, people say, we'd like to see career mode in Farm Sim, but you create your own career mode, right?
You can, yeah.
You don't need it. You don't need a step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That just becomes a tutorial, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I've always thought about that, because that's been a big request, is how do you do a career mode? And I wrote some notes about it a while ago. Start as a farmhand, you carry out tasks, you get offered a farm manager role, do you progress to farm ownership? But you can do all of that. If that's how you want to play, you do contracts and start out doing contracts and pretend you're a farmhand. I mean, the role play side of things is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and exactly that, right? You can, and people say, "Oh, course plays cheating and auto drives cheating," using. Well, no. When was the last time you had a 2,000 acre farm that you ran on your own as a single person? Like, never. So sending tractors off the fields to do work while you're doing something else is totally legit, right?
Yeah, it definitely is. Sorry, it's very hard to read everything that's going on and listen to you and concentrate. I'm only a simple man.
It's trying to play catch up.
Yeah.
More customization for the map. Try to evolve a farm on a map is not easy when there are things that can't be deleted or moved. So that's an interest. Let's talk about that. The amount of times that I see, and I've seen it with something like Court Farms, when you get comments when you do a map tour, and they're like, hedges are rubbish. I want to delete all the hedges, and I want to plow all the small fields into one big field and delete all of the buildings on the farm. And you're like, well, as far as I'm concerned, that's a map that's based on a real place in the UK. And you should respect the modder's wish to create a map that does that, versus a no man's land, which is your blank canvas to do what you like with. And I think if you want to remove all the hedges and plow the fields together on Court Farms, that's not the map for you, right?
No man's land. Go play no man's land.
Yeah, or go and download one of the big American maps that has got big fields and no hedges, because that's what that part of the world is like. Go and download Evergreen, Saskatchewan, because it is 4 massive fields with no hedges.
Yeah.
So I don't understand that mentality. And equally, something like Court Farms, where you do have an established farm, there's nothing to say that you can't go and landscape a flat pad on the farm and add a new shed in. So that flexibility is still there, right?
Yeah.
So I think, but then again, the other option is you've got every map under the sun and every choice there. So there is something. I do believe there is something for everybody out there.
Yeah. The difficulty with sort of like the delete, you can use the delete function in EasyDev, for example, on PC. You walk up to something and delete it and hide it.
Yeah.
The difficulty with that is it depends on how the modders modded the map, and there's so many different ways to skin a cat for that. You could end up deleting every tree on the map. Just going up and deleting one, depending how it's all done. So unless there was some really clearly defined rules around the map structure, the file structure and everything around that, those things are never going to work on modded maps.
That's true, actually. Yeah, that's a really good point. That it is a very fluid structure for building stuff. So you can do it 100 different ways. So no one map is the same as any other. I mean, there are consistencies in there, but you're right. You can build additional buildings actually into the XML of the map, or you can just have them as placeables and remove. So yeah, you're right. I think it kind of does maybe need to be. Well, does it need to be managed better? Because it works, right?
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, and I don't know which is best from a performance perspective either with maps. I don't know whether or not having extra mods that you need to download is better than having them coded into the XML. I don't know. I don't know. This is where my lack of how to mod comes in. So
there you go.
There you go.
It's just asking why I wasn't wearing my AG hat.
You're double hatting.
I felt like being John Deere today.
So, should we talk about FarmCon?
Sure. That is only 4 weeks. Is it 4 weeks? It must be 5 weekends. Would have just finished in 5 weeks, wouldn't it?
That's right. Yes, it will have.
Yeah.
I have to say, I'm beyond excited that you're making the trip over again.
Well,
you're literally doing a round the world trip this time, aren't you?
I am going around the world. Yeah. Do you know what? The only reason I was coming this year is because of the hope of a new game, and I'm kind of getting a little bit nervous that I'm going to be coming around for nothing.
Maybe you'll get a refund.
They'll announce it the week after or something. They'll be FarmCon's just like, just drive a fence and let's watch some FSL and that's it.
Yeah. I'm just going to have to address this from car reviews on a budget. They need more Asian and European maps are needed because we have too many American ones. I think actually quite the opposite. I think there's been more UK and European maps for 22 than we saw in 19. There was a huge amount of US maps in 19. But I think no, we've definitely been spoiled with European maps in 22,
and some quality ones. Deutschland just released any Avito mods ones. Court Farms.
Yeah.
FarmSim Briscoe, I saw him in chat before. The Oaks.
Yeah. What a brilliant map that was for a first time map, and how much the community grabbed a hold of it and fell in love with it. It's great. Yeah, fantastic. So anyway, yes, back to FarmCon.
The Asian maps is an interesting one.
Yeah.
Because I know you and I have commented before. You actually from India's quite a big market, particularly on the mobile version of the game. But I think it's a bit of an untapped opportunity there. We do see people from Asian countries coming into streams and things like that, and I really think there's some big opportunities there.
Yeah, right, myself writes Asia down.
First DLC, you hit it here first. DLC,
it's only a small area, Mr. Marcel. It's fine. Oh dear.
There you go. But anyhow, FarmCon.
We should let you know FarmSim Briscoe is completely redesigning the Oaks, so stay tuned, folks. FarmCon. I mean, last year we were treated incredibly well by a team at Deutzfahr, weren't we? We got to drive tractors, got to tour of their state-of-the-art, super modern factory. We're at Fent this year, which is obviously a firm favourite of loads of folk in the game. Looking forward to seeing what's what, regardless of what news or what we're going to get about the new game. It's just a nice opportunity to see other YouTubers and see. It sounds like there's a bit of a.
Do we say an English invasion? Yeah,
I was going to think, how do I word this? But yeah, there's loads of people.
English-speaking invasion.
Yeah, after the success of Llama earlier this year, I think there's a lot of the UK community going to try and head over, and I certainly know guys on my side are jumping on, coming over. So it's going to be really good from that perspective. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Sure. Yeah, no, that'll be exciting. Definitely looking forward to meeting a whole lot of people that are normally in chat and you've got to know over the years without actually meeting them. So
yeah, no, definitely. So there we go. There's a bit of info if you don't know what FarmCon is. Thank you, Hamish. Much appreciated. FarmSim next time, my friend. Next time. what else should we talk about, Arks? We said we'd run this for about an hour, and I have no idea what time it is.
It's 20 past, so we've gone for 50 minutes.
Oh, right, okay.
It conveniently tells you up in the top left corner of the screen how long it's been live.
Oh, so it does. Look at that. Look, it says we're live as well.
We are. That's a good start, dude.
It also says we've got 250 people watching, so a massive shout out to everybody that's tuned in. And actually, that's a good point, isn't it, Arks? Like we've been wanting to do this for a while. We've kind of, this is a test run. We'd love to hear what you think, the feedback, how you would like to see this going forward. Would you like to see guests? You know, rather than having Mr. Marcel in the chat, would he like to come on and be a guest one week, maybe? Who else would you like to see? You know, we could get modders in, we could get other YouTubers in. Let us know what we could get, even if there's members of the community who would just play the game. And, you know, would you like your 5 minutes of fame and sit and tell us what you like about FarmSim and all of that? So, yeah.
Yes, Mr. Marcel, we are both going to be at FarmCon.
Yes, we are.
A little bit of a flight to get there first. And yes, Glenn, I won't be flying, so I'm sure I can go over the water safely.
Yeah. It isn't actively try and go in the water. Can I just say that? It's just slight accidents.
That's right.
There you go, Days. I'd like this to be a 2 weekly thing or something, and guests can be fun to have a good rant. I remember Days did a stream with me way back when he released his potato pack. We did it on Comms, I think, very early on in 22, and that was really good fun. I think people appreciate hearing from modders because I think they do so much for the game, but don't always have a platform to talk. So, and I obviously understand that it's not everybody wants to do it either, but equally those who would like to, we would love to have you on as well. Have I rented a car? Not yet, Jan. Not yet. For some reason they won't let me have a Porsche. I can't work it out.
The fact you've got to fit 5 people in it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Mark Haythornthwaite doesn't want to hold on to the spoiler at the back. But yeah, a good old natter. That's exactly it. It's about connecting with all the brilliant people that watch our 2 channels. But equally, you know, how great is that having with Mr. Marcel in tonight, chatting to us, like really, really open and honest and transparent about what's possible, what isn't possible, how you see things from Giant's point of view. Kermit, we'd love Kermit on as well. Kermit's brilliant for us as you know, content creators for FarmSim.
It's great having a English sort of focused community coordinator.
Yeah, definitely.
Before he joined, Chucky and Lars did a great job, but
we're looking at the logistics of how we could potentially do one of these at FarmCon as well, aren't we, Args? It probably boils down to internet connections at the Deutz-Fahr Arena. But if we can set something up while we're there, we'll try and do a live from there if we can. So stay tuned for that. But any feedback you want, either drop it in Args' Discord or my Discord, and we can
just comment on the video afterwards.
Yeah, drop your comments in the video. Neither do I. Oh, brilliant. Oh dear. So there we go.
Even some ideas on topics too. What you might want to chat.
Yeah. What would you like? Yeah. What would you like us to discuss?
Set up a commentator booth like they do in sports.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to see, because actually Deutz-Fahr was really good. We had a lounge sort of space that was separate from the main floor where we could sit up above and look back over the venue, and that would have been a great spot at Deutz. So we'll just have to see. I'm there. I get there on Thursday, so arrive about the same time as Farmer Cop and DJ. So I'm traveling to Mark Dober Ford or whatever it's called with them. So hopefully we'll have a sort of chance to do a bit of a recce the day before and figure out what we can and can't do.
Yeah, no, that would be good. We'll be fighting over bandwidth with that DJ and that. Do
you know, this is just looking at Ham and Eggs comment there about, you know, finding if he's doing at a low point in life, and the enjoyment and friends help tremendously, and that's awesome. Do you know the number of people across both our communities and the FarmSim community in general have shared that same sentiment, that same thought? And I know, you know, we've talked about it again before, and it's just so heartwarming for us.
Yeah.
You know, we're just a couple of average blokes that just happen to have a love for a game and had the chance to get to know each other, and you know, we can share that with you guys, and to have comments like that, Ham and Eggs, and from others. I know share who was in here before. She was the
Yep.
same, and people like that, people like you, just that certainly warms the heart to hear that you've been able to have a positive impact on someone's life just by sharing it. And to everyone in the community as well, everyone that's in the chat that's here, you know, we've always said Farming Simulator's got one of the best communities in any game. It's friendly, it's helpful, it's welcoming, it's inclusive, and I think that's just what makes the game as great as it is. So fingers
100%.
crossed that FS25 or whatever new game we might be getting, if we are getting a new game, could come out and carry on that legacy that the Farming Simulator franchise has had.
No, brilliantly put, Args. Yeah, totally agree. I mean, yeah, Llama at the start of the year was just reinforced that in person, that, you know, what you feel when you're kind of doing your streams and doing your vids and stuff, and the great comments we get is just amplified at 100 times over when you meet these people in person. It's fantastic. So, yeah, no, we are lucky to have this game. You know, we're all playing it 3 years after it came out. I mean, how many games can you say that you can do that with? You know, it does a brilliant job, and it's yeah, we're lucky. And we both talk about how lucky we are that just the last 3 years has happened, really, since we both started our channel, and where we're at now, and yeah, it's you know, pretty cool to be able to say you get to travel all over the world because you play a computer game.
Yeah, don't sell yourself short. It's been 4 years.
Yeah, true. That's nearly.
Well, no. So, yeah, you were July, weren't you?
Yeah.
It has been 4 years for me.
Yeah, I started my channel. I set it up in May, so technically it's 4 years old. But I didn't post my first video till July. So,
how many videos did you record before you posted your first one?
First one I did was the first one I posted.
One and done. One and done.
Yeah, I didn't overthink it, and I just threw it up. I looked the other day. Actually, I have 960 videos I've posted in nearly 4 years.
I'm getting up to 1,000 videos.
Yeah, might have to have 1,000 videos super special or something like that. FarmSim is more than just a game now. Exactly, FarmSim. Couldn't agree more.
We're going to have a 100k sub video for you first, live stream. Potatoes.
Yeah, maybe.
Everyone's going to reinstall FS19 so we can go back to Flint Hills.
I'm going to need some help.
Oh, you've needed help for a long time, though.
Yeah, true. Yeah. My potato skills leave a lot to be desired.
I did see just who was it that asked? FarmSim Bob, does FarmCon get live streamed? It didn't last year. It did in 21 because it was all done virtually anyhow. There was no in-person FarmCon. So yeah. But that was one of the feedback actually we gave Giants last year after last FarmCon was that would be nice to be able to have more information for those who aren't able to attend. And share some of that. So who knows? Don't know what they've got planned.
And it was all in German last year, which I think, you know, so there was that kind of delay, and even if you were watching it, you know, slight delay in trying to grasp the information that was being announced. So I don't know what's being done. Certainly in the one the year before, they did an English voiceover. Yeah. But I think it was rather expensive. So there's that balance again of how do you do it? Everyone will get the information shared on FarmCon, but no idea about a live stream. There are likely some content creators that stream live though. So yeah, maybe it's up to us. Maybe we're gonna have to take it on board, Args, and
do something there. We'll get if Mr. Marcel can guarantee us some decent bandwidth, then we'll be in.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring him the biggest lasagna I can find. Right.
Funny. Well, there we are. We've managed to stretch that out to an hour.
Yeah, no, that was good fun. I enjoyed that. Do you know what? It's just nice to stop and chat with everybody, because when you're streaming and you're playing the game, you know, you get so focused on what you're doing, and you can, you know, there's a lot of people dropping in and saying hello and stuff like that. But actually to kind of start drilling down on specific subjects and having a conversation of, you know, the specifics, and hearing back, and like you said, you know, there's a few people in here who've been having conversations, side convos with Mr. Marcel. I like it.
I'll get in touch with Fent in direct. Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun, and this is actually an insight into what you and I generally chat about when we're recording a video anyhow. And
it is.
You know, we have a lot of these conversations with each other, so it's nice to be able to share them with you guys and share some of our thoughts and views and hear yours as well. I thought, just before we finish off, I thought this was an interesting. We were looking at this earlier. This is, actually, I'll just stretch see the lot. This is the Steam charts, and if I go all the way back down to the bottom, when FarmSim first released, there was obviously a big peak, 48,000 average viewers, concurrent in 96. But what's interested me is, 4 or 5 months afterwards, you were down around 16, 17, 19, 18. There's not huge numbers. There's not what I expected as an average number.
Yeah.
Have a look where we're at now. Even though people think the game's got quiet and some people's interest has died off, we're actually at 23,000 average players this month. This is Steam. This isn't taking in Epic Games or anything like that.
I was going to say, so it's a very small subset of PC players, but there will be a trend there, right? I think there's enough players there to show that there's a trend.
It's just interesting that after that initial die-off of the release, we've gone from 14,000 in June 22 to 10,000. It's not quite double, but it was just interesting seeing that and reflecting on the fact that while people who've played the game for 3 years might find it might find that it's been around for a long time, and your interest has died off, there is still a lot of new people coming and joining the game and playing and picking it up. So.
Yeah, that's right.
5 months to learn German. 5 weeks.
5 weeks.
5 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Anyhow.
So there we go. Thank you, everyone. I saw Nicholas Earl say, is this going to be a regular thing? Certainly, Nicholas, I'm not sure if we're going to do it forever, but the whole aim when we did From the Field at the end of FS19 was to kind of create build a little bit of an interest and discussion point for the next game as and when we got information up until it launched. So obviously we don't have the information on that yet, but a calculated guess would suggest we're probably going to hear something in the not too distant future. So with that in mind, we'll definitely, I think, keep these going. And based on the number of you watching, which is amazing, thank you all for watching. There appears to be quite a lot of interest here to do something like this on a semi-regular basis. So we'll definitely think about it. The challenge is it's Monday morning at 7 in the morning for Args, and it's Sunday evening for me. So finding the time that works will be obviously we both work as well, so we've got to fit it around jobs and things like that. But
that's right.
Absolutely, we'd love to keep doing this. So stay tuned. Yeah, we'll let you know in advance when we're doing it. We'll maybe even put schedule out and try and build a little bit of a clearly defined schedule for it.
Try and figure some things out. We've got a final logging league coming up as well.
That's right. Yeah, all tune in for the finals of logging league.
In there. So,
yeah,
awesome. All right, I'm just.
Hanson's got a gimbal. We're gonna hire Hanson as our cameraman. There we go.
Are we? All right. There's a few fantastic content creators which are live at the moment, which I've just thrown some links in there. We've got Scott Free for All. He's streaming at the moment. Rusty Money Gaming, I know he has a big announcement out there at the moment. So if you've got time, go and check him out. And our friend Virtual Farmer's live at the moment too. So if you're looking for something to do, something to watch after we've wrapped things up, go and check out one of those wonderful people.
Yeah. Tell them Argsy and FSG sent you. And this is what the community is all about. It's about nobody's competing with anybody. We're all doing this because we love the game. So go and say, especially these smaller content creators, go and give them a like, go and give them a sub, give them the boost that they need to keep going as well. Because they're all decent people, and that's how we started. People did that to us, and we just want to pay that forward now. So go say hi to them and give them a bit of support.
Yeah. Hey, Tam, I don't think Mrs. Arkley would be too happy if I trigger any more facial hair before the game announcement. An interesting challenge, though.
Well, there you go. Yeah, no shaving till we know what's happening with the next game.
I'll hold you to that too.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, thanks, mate. That's a blast. Thank you.
Yeah, really good fun.
All enjoy. Have a good week. We'll catch you again soon.
Yeah. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
See you soon.